Hey everyone, it's Mayor Barry Manuel here again. I just wanted to continue getting some information out to the public related to our ongoing impasse with our unionized workforce. I will apologize in advance for the length of these videos. It's necessary to get the information out. I realize that they're long, but there are a lot of things that we want to answer to and a lot of information to get out there, so bear with us. I guess the first thing I'd like to speak to is one of the comments that have been made around about our CAO, Darren Finn, and why he hasn't been speaking and other commentary around that. I will tell you he's very capable of speaking, and he has been directly involved in these negotiations from the start. But really, we're a government organization, and when it comes to speaking, myself or an alternate council would be, the one who would be speaking on behalf of council, no different than the provincial government. You don't see deputy ministers in front of the microphone. There's ministers and the premier. Federal government, the bureaucrats are not in front of the microphone. It's the politicians, and that's the way it works here as well. Now, Darren, if he was asked to, certainly would speak. But in terms of the involvement at the bargaining table, he is involved on a daily basis. I would even say on an hourly basis, even though he's not at the bargaining table. We do have directors there and a lead negotiator, and also council is involved. We've been involved in this since the very beginning because it's our mandate. This is what we have directed these people to do because we recognize that the changes have to be made. So, they talk about Darren Finn and why he's not talking. I'd just like to address that. And really, that is more of a distraction, as is the lead negotiator who we have hired out of Halifax. And, he hasn't been flying back and forth all the time. He's probably been here twice physically, but technology allows us to do a lot of things online. I would say, that these things are distractions again, and really just try to undermine our ability as a council to negotiate a contract because it doesn't have anything to do with the issues at hand. I'd like to get into now what are some examples. I did say I was going to get into some actual examples of what the town is looking for, asking the union for, just to explain to the citizens, and I'll get into more examples in the future. The first one I want to deal with is sick leave. And, it's in the contract right now, and it's been in there for a while, that we do it on a half-day, full-day basis. So, if an employee comes in for any time in the morning, over an hour, they get paid for the full morning. The same thing in the afternoon. What we are proposing is that it go hour for hour. This is something that is very common in union contracts, and I'm sure a lot of people in the community are used to doing it that way, and a fair way to do it, because we cannot have employees who may come in the morning for an hour, go home, may come in the afternoon for an hour, go home, and they get paid for the full day. It just does not make sense from a financial point of view. It does not make sense from a productivity point of view, and really for us, we just need to be fair about it on both sides. So it is a place where we could certainly save some money. Every employee is entitled to 12 sick days per year intended for that purpose. So when you take time off, if it's now hour for hour, you take it out of your sick bank and then go accordingly. The other issue here is that they do have sick time, and if they're allowed to leave after an hour and go home and get paid for the full morning, they're not deducting time from their sick bank. And at the end of the year, if there's time left in the sick bank, then they can be paid out for that. So really, it's almost like paying someone double time to not be here at times, which doesn't make sense. And unfortunately, we have had some people do that. And the vast majority of people would never do that in the organization. I recognize that, but the fact is, some people have, and we just want to eliminate that option, eliminate the possibility of abuse of these things. And this is one example that we feel is a reasonable request, and as I said, is standard and acceptable in most other union contracts. The other thing I'd like to speak about is clothing allowance. So every year the town pays for up to 75% for up to $700 a year for each employee to get the materials, equipment that they would require, clothing for their jobs. So things like rain gear, leather boots, rubber boots, coats, winter coats, things that would be needed for the job. And we're happy to do that. And again, it's been in the contract for a while. But what we're saying to the union is we want that to change. Instead of buying every single employee every single year all these things up to $700, we're saying we want it once over the course of the contract. But what we will do is replace it as necessary. We recognize that there's a lot of different jobs. There's people who are in ditches in cold weather, dealing with water line breaks. There's people doing asphalt work. And there's other people that don't have the same jobs that would have that kind of wear and tear. If someone comes in after 9 months and need their boots replaced because they're a problem, well, we'll replace them if it's justified. So all we're asking is to be fair here. This is an easy way to save money. And for that, we asked the union to consider it. And we've been asking since October for the union to consider that. And these are just a couple of examples of things that we are looking for that will have minimal impact on the employees, but a big difference to the organization and the community. And as you know, we're all acting on behalf of the citizens here. I will move on to some other things now. There's examples that I will continue. You know, I'll talk about some of the things around job descriptions, job vacancies, promotions, you know, just things that are normal managerial rights that exist in most every other contract. Those are the sorts of things we want to change. I'm not going to speak about why they're different here, but they need to change. And we recognize that, and we're going to continue to move in that direction. I mean, in terms of the union and their unwillingness to budge on even these littlest things, I would say this, you know, if it's because you're taking a stance that it's been bargained for in the past, it's been in the contract for years and years, and therefore we're not moving on it, well, that's not reasonable. It's just not in this day and age. And if you're taking the stance that every single thing that we're asking, you have to get something in return, that's not reasonable either. You know, it's just that we're in such different times now. I mentioned how the world has changed. You know, I think that the actions of the union really ignores the reality that we're living in this changing world and the challenges that we face. You know, these little things are going to make a big difference to the organization and to the citizens, but minimal impact on the employees. Again, no decreases in wages, benefits, no decreases in their sick time, their bonus days, all those sorts of things we're saying are remaining the same. When it comes to the group insurance, we are asking that any future increases be covered by the employee. Standard in most all other municipalities, all other unions that I know of, and in fact, still much better because most unions had to pay 50% of their group insurance or at least some contribution. Our employees are getting them 100% paid for by the town and the taxpayers. I just feel like it's unreasonable and impossible really at this time. You know, we know that the provincial government as well, the situation economically is not good. We can expect more and more downloading of responsibilities to the towns. We just have to get ourselves set up, not only with the union, but also with other places in the organization where we will look to save money as well. But the fact is, 62% of our overall operating budget goes towards employees. That is our biggest expense. So naturally, we have to look here to make some of these changes. And to see that the union is not moving at all on these things which really are not going to have a big impact and in some cases not have an impact at all is very disappointing. I mean, I mentioned all the things that are going around town. I had read somewhere that someone said that the things I said about seniors and food banks and that has nothing to do with negotiations. It has everything to do with negotiations. These are real things. Our seniors are suffering. We have expenses that are gone to the roof. We have people who've lost their jobs, lost their businesses, lost revenue. We have people in this town that have to leave every week to go to the South Coast or go somewhere else for the full week to make 15 or 16 bucks an hour with no benefits. And we feel like the employees here get treated quite well. I respect it. I recognize it often. I defend them when necessary. But this is just something that we know has to change. And, you know, what we're asking really is not much. I will talk about the fact that the big impact, I guess, on the lives or jobs of the employees. As I said, when it comes to this, there are no big impacts on their lives or their jobs. Many people, these things that we're talking about that we want to change, they're not losing their job. We're not looking to cut jobs. We're not looking to cut benefits. These are all things that could be a reality in many other places in this time in our history because of the economic situation and the strain on people. And really, we could make every change that we are proposing, and we would still have an agreement that's not only fair, but more than fair when you compare it to other unions around here and in the province. So again, I use the word reasonable a lot, and I believe what we're asking is very, very reasonable. You know, some people talk about the fact that why is all this happening? Why is the mayor on, and why is he doing all this in public, and you know, why not at the bargaining table? It should be at the bargaining table. I agree 100%. This is stuff that should be dealt with at the bargaining table. Unfortunately, over 8 months now, and we've had no movement on these things. We have an offer on the table for over a month that the union has told us they're not even going to respond to. We want to negotiate. We respect their right to negotiate, but these are realities that can no longer be in our community in order for us to be sustainable. We just can't afford it in the future. So the employees, we're asking to give a bit, and really the things we're asking again are not going to have much difference at all to them in their lives and in their jobs. I know, you know, we'll continue to get the information out there. I know there's a lot of other questions and comments that I want to address. I said from the beginning I'm going to address them all, but you have to understand that it's going to take time. And the thing is that we want to stick with what is relevant here now. We don't want to get off on things that are distractions that have nothing to do with the negotiations. Things like town hall renovations, which there's no extravagance here. I can't believe some of the things I'm reading. And when I talk about big screen TVs and shoe cleaners and this kind of stuff, which is not the case. And once we get back to normal, I'd be welcome anybody to come down and I'd take them through the show ourselves. We have a 90-year-old building here that had leaks in the roof. We had a KPMG report where we just streamlined things, put in some more space for public to be able to come in. There's nothing here that's been done extravagant. I don't want to get too far into it, but I have no problem talking about that in the future. Council remuneration, what I get out of it, what the rest of council gets out of it, have no problem speaking to any of that, and will do so. So stay tuned for other that. You know, I mentioned before as well that we are a union town, and I get it. I mean, we were built on the labor movement. We had the paper mill for over 100 years, and the unions are so important. And I'm not saying that we don't respect the union rights, but when you ask yourself, what is basic to a purpose of a union? Number one, are the employees being compensated fairly for the jobs they're doing? The answer is yes. Number two, are the employees working excessive hours, doing more than they should be asked to do, or not being compensated fairly for time after hours? We all know the answers. Our employees, if they're called in for overtime, will get time and a half on top of what their regular wage is. If they come in after midnight, they get double time. They get double time on holidays. So from a union perspective, they are being treated fairly. These other things are extremes, in my opinion, and things that need to be cut out, and we're going to continue to work towards that. And we won't be distracted. You know, for us, when it comes to Abitibi or Google or Amazon or any corporation you can name, I mean, these are ones that are looking to make changes for the profit, for the bottom line. We are not a greedy corporation. Our shareholders are our taxpayers. And that's who we speak to, and that's who we're representing in this. So I hope everybody understands that and really listens to all the information and what's going on here. I certainly want to say in closing, I guess, that, you know, I don't want to be doing this. I've said that from the start. This is the last thing I want to have to do. But the fact is we're looking at a work stoppage possibly in the future. And this has to be done. In order to get the information into the ears and minds of the citizens, this has to be done. You know, as a council, we could take the easy way out. We could say, oh yeah, we're just going to let them have everything and let's leave everything the same and move on. There's an election in the fall, and we're not going to do that because it's not the right thing to do. So, you know, I recognize that I have nothing to gain here, not one thing. And in fact, I have a lot to lose, friendships included. And don't think that that doesn't bother me on a personal level, because it does. I know a lot of these employees personally. I know that I treat them with respect and I get it back from them. I know that this is a difficult emotional situation, but I'm asking everybody, take a step back. Understand what it is that we're looking, what exactly the workforce is losing, and what impact it has on you, and is it worth a work stoppage? I just don't believe that it is. And right now I know that, again, it's been another long video. Talk to you again soon.